In 2019, the provincial government of Alberta launched a public inquiry into the global campaign to landlock Alberta's oil and gas resources. Led by forensic accountant Steve Allan, the inquiry not only confirmed the existence of a global anti-Alberta oil campaign, it also brought to light shocking details about who is actually funding it. Here are the top 10 astonishing findings of the Allan Inquiry. Number 10. Anti-tar sands campaign confirmed. For years, Canadian researcher Vivian Krause was called a conspiracy theorist because she noticed specific references to the tar sands campaign in the Tides Foundation's tax documents. When the inquiry commissioned the accounting firm Deloitte to investigate Krause's claims, it soon confirmed that such a campaign not only existed, but was being heavily funded by foreign, tax-free money. Number 9. Driven by a minority. While some Canadian environmental groups had been founded to protect nature for all citizens to enjoy, many no longer seem to serve the broader public interest. Instead, they represent an extreme minority, one that is more concerned about reinventing the economy and gaining political power than protecting nature. Number 8. By whatever means necessary. Prominent nonprofit environmental groups claim to be grassroots organizations. The reality is that they are sophisticated, coordinated, and run by professional activists who lobby and litigate, intervene and influence governments, industry, and citizens alike. These so-called charities or nonprofits have used foreign and government tax-free funding to keep hydrocarbons in the ground by whatever means necessary. Number 7. Charity rules relaxed. In 2012, former Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper asked the Canada Revenue Agency to conduct 60 political activity audits over 4 years and find ways to tighten nonprofit regulations. This work was undone by Justin Trudeau shortly after his election in 2015. Trudeau instructed the CRA to wind up its efforts by the end of 2016 and consult with environmental groups and charities on how to modernize and clarify the rules. The result? There are no limits to nonpartisan political activities in Canada for charities. Number 6. Money loses its character. Once a donation passes from a foreign donor to a large Canadian foundation or environmental group, which then redistributes it to other Canadian nonprofits, it has become, in essence, Canadianized and difficult to trace. As the inquiry says, the money loses its character. This means actual foreign funding of Canadian environmental groups for anti-Alberta energy campaigns is not only difficult to trace, it is also likely much higher than reported. Number 5. Technically legal, but is it ethical? As of today, foreign funding of anti-energy campaigns is legal, and the social and economic impacts are very real and very important for our well-being. The inquiry suggests citizens ought to consider the societal and economic impacts created by the foreign-funded actions of environmental groups. Who or what country benefits from keeping Alberta's energy in the ground? And is this good for Canadians? Number 4. Shocking levels of foreign funding. Between 2003 and 2008, 37 Canadian nonprofit environmental groups received, on average, from foreign foundations, $24.5 million per year. This skyrocketed to over $80 million per year between 2009 and 2019. So, between 2003 and 2019, 37 nonprofit anti-fossil fuel groups in Canada received at least $925 million in foreign funding. Number 3. Majority of foreign funding to British Columbia. The inquiry found that 82% of tax-free foreign money went to actions in British Columbia to landlock Alberta's energy. Many of these grants are recurring. What outcome is being satisfied to continue this level of funding year after year after year? Who or what is benefiting from this if Canada's oil and gas stays in the ground and its economy strangled? Number 2. Staggering amounts from Canadian taxpayers. Between 2003 and 2019, these 37 nonprofit environmental groups received over $2 billion from all three levels of government. Essentially, taxpayers are paying environmental groups who operate tax-free to shut down the petroleum industry, the economic engine of Canada that contributes $10 billion a year in taxes and royalties to Canadian governments. Number 1. Federal funding has increased 2,300% since 2015. Federal funding of environmental nonprofits was around $4 million per year in 2014 when Conservative Stephen Harper was Prime Minister. Now, since Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party was elected, it's over $93 million per year. That's a 2,300% increase. Remember, when governments give money, it's not government money, it's your money being spent. What does this all mean? Many from Canadian environmental nonprofits have criticized the Allan Inquiry, saying it was a waste of taxpayer money. Or was it? Perhaps it was a wise investment in Canada's future because it brought to light two important observations. 1. There are entities outside Canada who are giving a lot of money to organizations that seek to destroy our oil and gas industry. And 2. Canadian taxpayers are also giving these environmental groups a lot of money without even knowing it. Well, it seems to be the case in 2022, in the time of the great narrative, that the whole world is self-righteously telling Alberta to keep its oil in the ground. The fact remains that Canada's strength and potential power is in its resources. If we don't use them, we are no longer secure and become just another importer and dependent on potentially hostile countries that supply us with those things. Thank you for watching the top 10 astonishing findings of the Allan Inquiry.